I mean, I've been a Miami Dolphin since I was knee high to a duck. So, you know what I mean? This is something that's very near and dear to me and pretty much Dolphins worldwide, NFL and football fans worldwide for that matter. But for me personally, it's a little different because I'll give you a perfect example. I've covered as a journalist the sport of boxing for nearly 20 years. Boxing, obviously, fighting sport, combat sport. Guys are getting hit in the head 12 rounds or less every night out. But this is the first time I've personally witnessed an athlete whose body actually seizes every time he gets pure contact to the head region. You know, I mean, you think about it. We've looked at football for years. We hear about the CTE situation with a lot of the past athletes in the sport. You know, we see all the stories, we get all of the banter about it, but I can't think or point to one other athlete that seizes practically every time he's in that situation where he's concussed. It's one thing to get a concussion, but to actually seize where the body and the brain locks up, the hands lock up, that's for me personally, that's a very different situation, and I think it warrants, a different look. Right now, to my knowledge, based on research, there's over 250 active lawsuits pending against the NFL from athletes in the past who have dealt with this. You know, we remember Junior Seau, another Miami Dolphin, another gentleman that was connected to South Florida, a gentleman by the name of Dave Dorison, who played for the Chicago Bears and a couple other teams. You know, the Dorison story kind of resonates because it happened right here in South Florida, over in Sunny Isles, where unfortunately this NFL player, years after he stopped playing, was suffering from migraines and, blurred vision, a lot of different effects. And unfortunately, it became so much that he took his life. And the way that he took his life was something that really resonates. You know, Mr. Dorison, God bless his soul, he decided to shoot himself in the chest because he wanted his brain to be fully intact so that research could be performed to possibly give us a better insight and more depth of our understanding for what these athletes are dealing with the brain trauma that they have from this whole concussion scenario. So we see stuff like that, and I think as a family man myself, you have little kids, you have a wife. I don't think you put yourself in a situation where you push this a whole lot more than you need to. I mean, two is 26. Truth is, there's life after football. He has his contract now. On record, I was actually against him getting the contract because I knew that this day would come again. It's almost reckless to think that it would not in a contact sport. Particularly with my Dolphins, our line isn't the greatest. It does what we needed to do, but it isn't always the greatest. But regardless, it's reckless to think that it was never going to happen again. So I was against him having a contract, but I'm actually very happy that he did get it because at 26 years old, I'm sorry, he has finally actually secured his future for his family, his kids, his wife. And that's something that I think is every man's dream. Well, he has that in the bag because he has his bag at 26. So I don't see anything that should or would keep him here in the sport beyond that point. I mean, it's a very unfortunate situation. We look at what happened with Chris Bosh for the Miami Heat, another athlete I really respect and admire. Sometimes these are just very unnecessary hands that individuals are dealt in life. But I mean, it could be a lot worse. I think he has his future secured. Thank God for that. I just think, though, you don't want to continue to push this. We've seen enough hits and enough reaction from him physically. The next hit might be the one that, it does not recover from. So I personally, man to man, family man to man, would not ever want to see that. Um, to my understanding, the previous doctor that signed off on him clearing him to play after last year when it happened in Buffalo was fired. And I'm sure there was a lot of pressure and things that went into that. But I say that to say this: I would not want to be the doctor to sign off on clearing him. I think that's something that should be done as a committee with several doctors, outside doctors, without any direct influence. And I don't think that committee should be one that Tua is allowed to partake in. I think you need some honest medical advisors who can look at the situation and diagnose it for what it is and give him a very clean perspective on what it could mean, and just, go from there. That's my thoughts, though.